Hi, welcome to another remote edition of City Talk as we continue to do it through Zoom meetings during what you might have heard of, that nutty global pandemic thing. Say hello to, from the Department of Human Resources, Cicely Kaikai. Cicely, welcome to City Talk.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So you have a very unique position within city government. Tell everybody what you do.
I do. So I am officially the wellness guru for the city of Pittsburgh. And so basically what that means is I help to create, design, and implement the employee wellness program that we call City Fit Health and Wellness at Work.
Fascinating. How was that developed? Were you on the ground floor of that, or did you join it already in progress, as they say?
So I pretty much joined when it was already in progress. We came on around the end of 2015, early 2016, and CityFit has been around since about 2007, 2008. When it first started, it functioned with wellness fair, Weight Watchers, lunch and learns, just a few programs. And so when we came on, we really wanted to expand the program and really do a little more outreach. We acted as the boots on the ground to get more employees involved.
And are employees generally resistant to that or acceptant or a little bit in between?
I would say a mix. I think they're becoming more and more accepting of it as we, especially even in this global pandemic, how we're making things more accessible through online. It's a little bit easier for people to get involved regardless of where they happen to be, outside the city county building, working from home now. And especially word has kind of gotten out when you're talking with your colleagues about like maybe a prize that you've won or some results they've seen from some of the programs. So I think people are generally receptive to the program. It's pretty cool.
And sometimes you do group activities, is that correct? Bike rides, pickleball games and such?
Oh yeah, so especially pre-COVID, we would do different sports leagues. We had bowling league, basketball, softball, kickball. We had a rowing team. Like I said, Weight Watchers. We also have Healthy Huddles, which is a similar nutrition kind of accountability group through our nutrition partners. Lots of different activities where you can meet other employees, gain more friends and still be like physically fit, socially connect, and just have a good time while taking care of your health.
I guess ironically, Healthy Huddles is the least healthy thing you could do at this point.
We've turned it virtual, but yes, I see. Yeah.
Okay, and tell us about your background. Where are you from? How did you become interested in physical fitness?
Of course. So I'm from Pittsburgh. I grew up on the west end of town. I'm still over here in Westwood. I got my undergraduate degree at NC State in Raleigh, North Carolina. Graduated with a degree in nutrition sciences. And so I was just really interested when I graduated in preventative medicine. And so I started shadowing a dietitian who works with case-specific nutrition and really just wanted to see kind of like what they did, how they prevented any chronic diseases or helped employees or anyone really to manage those kinds of things. And through that relationship was able to hear about the City Fit program, and they were looking for people to, be that boots on the ground. And so I was able to get involved that way. So, yeah.
Did you picture yourself in government when you originally began to study this, or did you think you'd just sort of be a dietitian in private practice or something?
Oh, you know what? I definitely didn't think I would be in government. I was thinking more, originally I was thinking medical school. I wanted to be a physician, but then I really thought preventative medicine would be better for me. And my, I guess, personality and wanting to just help people improve their quality of life now, instead of like working in the hospital or something along those lines. So yeah, I definitely was thinking more private practice or something along, especially shadowing someone in private practice. I thought I would kind of follow those footsteps.
So have you worked with some people who were sort of reluctant, but now they're in much better shape than they were, and you've seen, amazing progress?
It has been really, really cool to hear some victory stories and testimonials of people who either through smoking cessation programs or through our nutrition and fitness programs, where yeah, they were skeptical, but they've seen great results. And so now they're kind of like our poster children for CityFit, and really share their successes with other people, which is really exciting. And it's always good to hear that what we're doing is making a difference for people.
So how have you adjusted to doing a lot more things virtually than in the past?
Yeah, so that's been a challenge for sure. But we have really utilized Microsoft Teams. So using the software that we have as city employees, normally we would host a wellness fair in person through either our rec centers throughout the city, or last year we hosted it at Phipps Conservatory. But this year we decided, well, we obviously can't do that, but we still want to do something. So we hosted a week-long event online through Microsoft Teams, and connected all of our vendors and our employees together through a team with different posts, we had like motivational talks at the beginning of the day. We'd have informational sessions midday, and then we would end with physical activity as well. All online, all open to city employees. And we've even heard that it was more engaging and more enjoyable than some of our in-person events. So that's one way. We've also incorporated bingo, things that employees can do at home and be able to submit any kind of verification online to get their points to still participate in the program.
That's interesting that some people found it more engaging virtually. Why do you think that is?
I think whenever you have a fair in person, you have your table set up and you kind of walk around, you get your free pen, you talk to this person for maybe 3 minutes, and then you just get a bunch of stuff that you read at home. And maybe people weren't actually reading at home or taking advantage of really knowing everything, kind of just walking around and going through the motions. Whereas having it virtually, and each vendor had 20 minutes to explain what it is that they offer for employees. So it was really a lot more robust than stopping and grabbing that pamphlet during an in-person fair.
Yeah, that makes sense. How have you been coping with COVID yourself?
Yeah, I've been doing okay. It is a little different, obviously, not having that interaction in the office. Although we were in the office briefly for like maybe a month or two back in September, but since we've gone 100% virtual again. But honestly, I don't mind it. I think that it's just something that we've had to adjust. And with our team, with my direct supervisor, we're still very vocal and we're very open with each other. We email, we utilize Teams a lot, actually. It's similar to, stopping by his office or stopping by our office. Hey, I have an idea, or hey, where are we on this? Now it's just, he'll call me on Teams and it'll be the same kind of thing. So it's been an adjustment, but it's something that I don't hate. I haven't been pulling my hair out, so it's okay.
That was my next question, because a lot of people are pulling their hair out. So personally, you're also have adjusted to it fairly well yourself.
I think I have. I'm on some levels an introvert, so I definitely thrive or get energy from like buckling down and being alone and in the zone. And when I need that interaction, I feel like I'm still able to get that virtually. So yeah, I think I've been coping pretty well.
All right, well, that's good. And so would you recommend a career in government to just your fellow human beings?
I would. I think it's great. I think to be able to work on behalf of the city of Pittsburgh is something that I do take pride in. And I think that our employees do so much for the residents here. So for me, working in HR and working on behalf of the employees to make sure that they're their best selves, it trickles down to the work that they do for the city. And I think that's really meaningful, and it feels good to be impactful in that way.
And is the stereotype of what you thought you might anticipate, is it a lot different, or not, is the stereotype different, but are people much more motivated and dedicated than you thought they might be? Because, some people actually believe that we just sit around and, I don't know, smoke cigarettes or fish paper or something.
Oh, no, I think there's I would say a large population of employees when we've had to adjust our communication, because so many employees saw City Fit for a while as like a weight loss program or for the unhealthy, quote unquote, stereotypical person, where we have so many people that are already adopting a healthy lifestyle that this is actually a program where you can be rewarded for that. So there's a place for everyone at City Fit. And I think we definitely have a population in the city that does value their health.
And in fact, you do give rewards on sometimes, correct?
We do. So everything within City Fit is points based. So if you go to the doctor, if you get a biometric screening, if you use our activity tracker, maybe you're biking a lot or you're walking, even playing with your kids, volunteering, so many activities that you can participate in, you get points for. And so then this year, the requirement was just 1,000 points throughout the year. So from January 1st to the end of this month, actually, you would acquire at least 1,000 points, and then you would get a financial incentive at the end of the year and also qualify for a prize, like a physical prize.
Here's a question you don't have to answer, but I was talking to another city employee who has had to put up, you mentioned you had a fiance, he had to put off his wedding twice because they kept rescheduling it, and then, the pandemic wouldn't end.
Yeah, so it's funny, we weren't going the traditional route of getting engaged and then getting married the next year. We were taking our time anyway. Right. So it hasn't really affected us. Good
for you.
Yeah.
You may be the most well-adjusted person in this pandemic I've talked to so far.
Yeah. I mean, it can be tough, but yeah, I guess I just have everything I did in person, I'm just doing virtually now. So it can be a little annoying, but at the end of the day, it's like, you got to do what you got to do.
Isn't it the truth? Well, Cicely Kaikai, really interesting to talk to you, and thank you so much for being on this program.
Thank you so much. I loved it.
Back with more of City Talk in a moment.
Hi, I'm Marty Battistone, and I'm the Senior Environmental Planner in the Department of City Planning. I have a background in nonprofit work and a passion for the environment, which led me to urban planning. My favorite thing I get to do in my role is create master plans for parks across the city. It helps me connect to residents in all neighborhoods and help build spaces that feel accessible and can be enjoyed by everyone. If you would like to work for the City of Pittsburgh, just go to pghjobs.net or call 412-255-2710. We are the City of Pittsburgh.
Welcome back to City Talk. Say hello to Michael Kelley from the Department of Forestry. Michael, welcome to the program.
Pleasure to be here, John. How are you this morning?
Not too bad. And yourself?
Oh, I'm working right along, enjoying the turn in the weather.
I wonder if a lot of people would be surprised to even find out that the city has a Department of Forestry.
I believe a lot of them would be. We get a lot of calls, but they tend to be pretty concentrated in parts of town that take advantage of those type of services.
And you, correct me if I'm wrong, are an arborist.
Yes, I am an ISA certified arborist, minted 2 years ago, I believe.
Awesome. Tell us what that is and what you do.
Well, the International Society of Arboriculture is the certification body that manages people who work in tree care. And in order to meet that, you have to have a certain number of years experience and education to get your certification and then pass a test. Personally, I work in utility and municipal arboriculture. I don't go up in trees much anymore.
But you did that for a while.
I was mostly a ground worker. I climbed a few trees, but it was never really my thing.
Yeah, because that could be a dangerous thing, I would think.
Very, yeah. And I moved into arboriculture from agroforestry extension with the Peace Corps. And so I came in at an age when moving into climbing is something you should be moving out of.
Very interesting. What did you do for the Peace Corps? How long were you there?
Well, I was there for a number of different contracts. I started with them in 2008 in Mauritania as an agroforestry extension agent, and then continued my service in Senegal for another couple of years as agroforestry extension and then as a training coordinator. And then I worked for them a couple of years later as an industrial wastewater engineer.
Wow, so you've got a varied background. Do you miss the industrial wastewater engineer, or do you prefer the arbory?
I really prefer working with trees. They smell better.
I can imagine. So tell us what your day might look like, working with trees and working with the people who may have problems with trees or concerns.
So my position in the city is working primarily with utility companies. So right now, PWSA, Peoples Gas, Columbia Gas, Duquesne Light, they're all gearing up for their 2021 work cycles. And as many people have noticed, PWSA and American Water are replacing lead water lines throughout the city. And Columbia Gas and Peoples Gas are replacing some gas lines that date almost as far back as the turn of the last century.
Wow.
And so when these new lines go in, that necessitates a lot of digging, and that puts trees at risk. So what we're working on are strategies to help them work safely and efficiently so that people can get clean water and reliable gas, but also reduce the number of trees that we lose and plant more in the process.
I suppose it just depends on the individual site as to whether you have to lose the tree and how integral it is, how much in the way it is.
It does, yeah. And every now and again, you do encounter a tree that is just flat out unhealthy and needs to come out anyway. And that happens to be a convenient moment for both parties.
So because they're digging up all these lines, gas lines and water lines, you must be busy like crazy right now.
Oh, we run around a lot. Yeah. And it's only going to get busier over the next year and a half.
And you have to, I'm assuming you're inspecting that on site and then just advising the workers as you go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we're working on getting a set of protocols in place where they will be able to do more of their own inspections as time goes on, with us taking more of a supervisory role. The end goal being to help create jobs in Pittsburgh related to tree care and tree work by integrating it into existing practices.
Was there a time, not just here, but everywhere, when people didn't care as much about trees and they just tended to, cut them down and get on with the work of the gas line or whatever?
I would say that it continued from the early 1800s until about 50 years from now. People generally are unaware of the value that trees hold in their neighborhoods. And we get a lot of people that are just like, I don't want to rake the leaves. Please take these trees down.
And tell us about the value of trees.
Well, trees, not only do they improve your property values by their aesthetic value, they actually do a lot of good for the city as a whole. So if you take your average, say, big 25-inch London plane tree, those are those sycamores with the pretty bark you'll see in a lot of neighborhoods. Not only does that tree look great, it provides shade to the houses, which reduces their heating bills in the summer. It provides a windbreak, which reduces the ability of wind to strip the envelope of hot air around houses away, which saves gas money in the wintertime. They intercept stormwater, which reduces the amount of water going into our sewer systems. And as you may or may not know, a lot of our sewer systems are combined sewer and stormwater. So when you have a storm, if there's overflow, that means raw sewage goes into the river. So every gallon of water that tree intercepts is 1 gallon of pollution that doesn't go into the Allegheny or the Ohio or the Monongahela. And then they also absorb a stunning amount of particulate matter from the air. We're talking the PM25, the particles that are around the same size as COVID. And I'm not going to make any outlandish claims like trees prevent COVID or anything like that, but they do reduce a lot of the air pollution that can cause respiratory issues further on down the line.
Interesting. Do you have favorite trees? Do you prefer some over others?
Well, I really enjoy London plane trees, and as much as people may complain about acorns, oaks are some of the most beautiful trees out there. I'm not so much a fan of a lot of the maples, though. They just don't do well in urban environments.
I wasn't aware of that. So maple trees are not necessarily good for the city or good in a city environment.
There are some that still work, but as a blanket, I would say 5 out of 6 of the species we're going to encounter are ones that are better in a park than on a sidewalk. Every tree has its own works. So we have specific lists of trees that are approved for use in certain circumstances, approved for use in other circumstances, and just flat out banned from being planted in public streets.
Interesting. So where are you from originally, and how did you develop your interest in trees?
Well, I'm from Mercer County, so just up north of here. And I've always been passionate about plants. As a kid, my grandfather once told my parents that someday that boy is going to bring trees to the forest, which I still am not 100% certain I understand the comment, but it seems to have fit. And so I worked all through college, gardening and working in landscaping. And I went to Dickinson out in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, where I majored in international studies. And then through the Peace Corps, I worked in agricultural extension, bringing trees into cropland ecosystems to make a holistic approach to food production.
So this is just the perfect job for you, it seems to me.
Yeah. If we could add integrating community gardening into street tree planting, then yeah, it would be pretty much every single box.
Awesome. And do you have a small staff, I assume?
Yeah, we don't have a particularly large division. We have effectively 2 crews of tree pruners and 1 crew that does stump removals, and about 49,000 street trees.
And if I have a question about trees, whether it's on my property or on public property, are you the guy to call, or is your department the place to go?
You can call the forestry division. Lisa Chaffee is our boss. She's the city forester. There's usually me or at least one of the supervisors there at some point. Best time to call us is early in the morning or around 1 o'clock.
When I interviewed Lisa a few months ago, I called her the queen of the forest. Does that make you the king of the forest?
No.
Okay, just wanted to clarify that. All right, well, and would you recommend a career in the city government and forestry in particular, just to folks who might be interested?
I would, yeah. Anything that you can do in this field, it provides such a broad scope of benefits to the communities you work in. It's really a lot of impact for your hours.
Awesome. Michael Kelley, thanks so much for joining us on City Talk today. Nice to talk to you.
All right, pleasure to meet you. Have a good day.
You too. That is this edition of City Talk. We will see you next time.